Hi, welcome to another set of video notes. We're moving on to 2-3, and today we're going to look at how to graph equations of lines. Now, you've kind of already done this. You did the table method the other day. You would pick a number for x and plug it in, graph the point, or points, because you had to do more than one, and then you connect it. Well, now we're going to start looking at some other ways that you can graph lines. So, the first way we're going to look at is probably the most common, the most important to know, and I think the easiest. It refers to the slope-intercept form. Now, we talked the other day about what M stands for. M stands for slope. Remember the mountain, and mountains have slope? That's what we're talking about. The B, anybody remember from Algebra 1 what the B is about? It's about the y-intercept. Okay? So, here's your steps. You can put these on your study card. First step, identify the y-intercept and graph it. Now think about this. It's calling it the y-intercept, so it's going to cross the y-axis. In other words, 0, and then wherever the B is. Okay? We're going to talk about then, after you graph that point, you're going to find the slope and use it to find the next point. And we'll talk about that a little more. Then you can draw the line. I have two examples of this we're going to use. The first one's right here. So in this equation, we've got y equals 3/4 x minus 2. What's the y-intercept? Hopefully, you all came up that the y-intercept is -2. And I told you you're going to graph the point 0, -2, or in other words, it's on the y-axis, okay? Now, the next part's a little foggier. I said identify the slope. Hopefully you can all find the number that's in the spot where the M or the slope is. It's 3/4. Please remember for slope, it's rise over run. So, we've got a 3 and a 4. That means rise up 3, 1, 2, 3, and move to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's your other point. Draw your line, and you're done. Okay? We could go through and check some things. It looks like the point 4, 1 is there, and if we put 4 in, 3/4 of 4 is 3 minus 2. Oh yeah, it is 1. So we must have done it right. Good. You've got it. But you don't really have to do all that checking. Just find your y-intercept. Use your slope to find the next point. So up 1, 2, 3, and to the right 4. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you is if you have a negative, I'm going to always tell you to put it with the rise. And that way, sometimes you might go up, sometimes you might go down, but you always move to the right. Okay? If you look at this, the slope is 3/4. It should be positive, and you're rising as you move across, so things are checking out nicely. Let's do the next example. Y equals -x plus 3. Well, we have to find the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is which number? Oh, it's the 3. This time it's a positive 3, so we find 3 on the y-axis, which remember, up and down, 1, 2, 3, or remember we're graphing the point 0 and whatever number we found. Okay? Now we have to identify the slope. Well, I don't even see another number. How am I supposed to figure that out? Oh yeah, that's right. Slope is right next to the x, and there's a negative and no number. Oh, that's like a -1. Now, that wasn't in a nice fraction form, but I can think of it as -1 over 1. So, rise is -1. What does negative mean? Oh yeah, move down. And then we still move 1 to the right. And now we have this nice line. And if you notice, it is falling. Oh, but it has a negative slope, so we must be okay. Pretty sweet, huh? Quick, easy, not painful. Okay, well, because we can't just leave it easy, we got to go one step forward, or one step more, we're going to look at how to graph in standard form. Now you might have done this in Algebra 1, but you may not remember it at all. Standard form doesn't have the y all by itself. These big capital letters are referring to numbers, so a number with an x and a number with a y and a number all by itself. Well, what you do for standard form, you could work to get the y by itself, but some of you didn't like that when we did that back in like lesson 1.4. So instead, let's find the x-intercept, which means we're going to put 0 in for y and solve, and then you graph the point. We'll do the same thing for the y-intercept, which means it's crossing the y-axis. So you put 0 in for x, get the number, connect the points. Let's try. I think if you see an example, it might go a little easier. So we need to find the x-intercept. So remind ourselves, for x-intercept, we're going to put a 0 in for y. Okay? And now it tells me to solve. So what is negative 3 times 0? It's just 0. Negative 2x equals 6. What do we do to get x by itself? Divide by negative 2 and you get x equals negative 3. So we need to go to negative 3, 0. So negative 3, 1, 2, 3, and we don't move up or down any because it is the x-intercept. It's where it's crossing the x-axis. Okay? Some people get confused because they go, but wait, you put the 0 in for y. Yes, because we want to cross the x-intercept, or the x-axis. Now, we're going to do y-intercept. Okay, for y-intercept, we put the 0 in for x. So now we have negative 2 times 0 minus 3y equals 6. Well, what is negative 2 times 0? 0. Negative 3y equals 6. What do we do to get y by itself? Divide by negative 3. You get y equals negative 2. So once again, we're graphing the point. Here, I'll write this up. We're graphing the point 0, negative 2. 0, negative 2. Notice it's crossing the y-axis. That's why it's intercepting it, taking it, hitting it, crossing it. And then you can just graph and connect your points. Okay, so that's another skill we can do. Last thing that I kind of want to work with you on is this last idea, where we need to graph horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, and we're going to actually do that on this graph, but I'm going to use a different color. Okay, so if we have, say, x equals 5, where is x equals 5? Well, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's right here, but isn't it also here, and here, and here? It's anywhere along that vertical line, okay? If we have something like y equals negative 4, we're going to go to where y is negative 4, right here. But remember, anywhere along here is negative 4, so we wind up with a horizontal line. If you want, put this on your study card, that if x is a number, it's going to be vertical, and if y is a number, it's going to be horizontal. Now I have a way to remember that. Horizontal, you see the z? Y and z are at the end of the alphabet. So, vertical and x are closer to each other in the alphabet, okay? You don't have to do that. You get a study card, but if it helps you remember it, that's great. Now, let me tell you, the next time you come to class, yes, you'll practice these concepts, but I also want to show you some things on the graphing calculator, and I don't think that would be very good to try to do with this video, because I'm afraid you'll hit the wrong buttons and you'll be stressed out and you won't know how to fix it. So we're going to try to do that in class the next time. We'll look at what your graphing calculator can do to help you do these problems, okay? So, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got everything down, all the examples. Otherwise, you won't get full points for your notes. But if you watch this, you'll at least get something, as opposed to those other people who keep forgetting to take notes. Bye.